Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say happy birthday to the birthday girls, and we're going to show a short video. Not this is too long, so please join me in singing happy birthday to Jared and Joyce. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joyce. Happy birthday to you. is ready to kick off our program tonight. And we're going to begin our program, and I'm just going to give you some opening remarks. Again, I think I met most of you at the picnic yesterday. My name is Bruce Clark, and I'm Janet's husband. And we've been married for 36 years. And I also like to say congratulations to Michael and Jackie Brown. A lot of you were down at Tennessee last night. They were celebrating their 40th. So I'd like to begin on that note, also giving an opportunity to some of the other couples in the audience tonight. And I'd like to start with anyone that's been married more than 20 years. Raise your hand. All right, how about 30 years? Wow. How about 40 years? Wow. Boyfriend, you have been married 40 years. You've been married when you were 14. Okay. Anybody been married for 50 years? Raise your hand. Okay. Well, in any event, congratulations to all of you. And I'd just like to say that for those of you that don't know, this is the 40th year that we've actually had a formal family reunion. The first one was in 1978. We do these every 2 years. So this is the 20th one. Jackie, am I right? 20th? 21st. So this is the 21st. So our family reunion is now the legal drinking age. And so our theme for this year's event is Pioneering Spirits Through the Decades. And I want to say good evening to all the ladies and gentlemen and all the friends and all the families of the Young family. And as I said, this marks the 40th year that we've had the pleasure of hosting this event. And much thanks to all the committees, the Southern Committee, the Central Committee, and the Northern Organizing Committee. And for their efforts and for the continued tradition. When I first came to my first reunion back in 1980, we were at this hotel and we had 256 people in attendance. Now, a lot of us are descendants of those folks. Some of us may have been at every one that we've had since then. I'd like to see someone raise their hand that's been at every event. Look at that. So Andre, they must have put you brought you in here in a stroller, right? Well, that's great. But again, as I said, this whole planning of this event tonight didn't begin 2 years ago. The family reunion is blessed by the love and dedication of our ancestors. But the journey to be here tonight did not begin with the planning reunion. As I said, it actually began in the 1860s. It began when Hiram and Adelaide Young, born into slavery, with children that were also born into slavery, knew that they wanted a better life for their children and instilled in them love for family and a thirst for knowledge. That thirst of knowledge could be seen throughout the decades in that pioneering spirit that they put into each and every one of us. We've had the opportunity to excel, and we've had the support and the love of our family through good times and bad times. And I'd like to say congratulations to the parents, the grandparents, and all the ancestors that have had an influence on all of our lives, because it takes a village, really, to build a child into adulthood. The truth of the pioneering spirit has stood the test of time. The love and dedication and support of the family and that pioneering spirit runs through your veins. And if you don't believe it, take a look around in the room and see all of the people that are here in terms of what they've done in terms of their personal successes and their family successes. And as I said, this began in the 1860s. But our journey to California began actually around 1887, when Jordan Young and his cousin Julia Bell relocated to the Fowler area. Yesterday we had the family picnic at Panzac Park. And something I learned on the internet, you gotta believe it because it was on the internet, was that the park that we had the picnic at yesterday was actually the original home site of Jordan Young. He passed away in 1922, and his wife, who had been a midwife in the Fowler area, had delivered many of the residents of Fowler from the time that she lived there, from about 1890 up until probably the 1920s. But when he passed away, she sold that land to the city of Fowler. So we were at ground zero yesterday having a picnic, and it also mentioned in the article that he created the greenery in that area, which means all of the trees that we saw yesterday were probably planted by Jordan Young over 100 years ago. And that was a piece of history that I thought was great, and the fact that his wife had been a midwife. So that was a really interesting piece of history for me. But after Jordan and his cousin Julia Bell came to California, they contacted their brothers in South Carolina and convinced them that South Carolina might not be the place that you want to raise your family in terms of future opportunity. And they saw that, and they made the sacrifice to come to California to raise their families. So 3 of the brothers came. You had Jordan Young that was here, and then you had his 2 brothers that followed him, who were Hiram and Isaac Young, who would come pardon? Simeon, I'm sorry. Simeon, who is my wife's grandfather, so I should know that. So I made a mistake on that. When they left Sumter, South Carolina, it was really interesting. Ed Young Jr. and I joined about 22 other family members. I'm going to sit down because I have a bad back. That's why I'm sitting. But Ed and I were there in 1987 in one of the off years, because since we had the family reunion every 2 years. So when we went back there in 1987, along with several other family members, we went on a roots trip. And we actually went to the library in Columbia, South Carolina, and we found the slave census from 1860, which was the last time that they had the census, and we actually saw Hiram Young Sr. and Adelaide's names along with their 4 boys listed. Now, there also were 4 girls. They had 4 sisters. But sometime between 1860 and 1865, they lost contact with the girls, and so we believe that they were sold to a different plantation. From a slavery perspective, I've also found out that the reason that a lot of the slaves kept their masters' names was because after the Civil War, that was one way that they thought that they could reconnect and contact each other if they kept a common name. But the sisters, we believe, from the roots trip that we had back to South Carolina and the people that we talked to, those sisters either took the name of McDowell or McDonald, but we've never been able to locate any of the sisters. Although times have changed, and we have a new generation of young family descendants, and you guys are the vines of branches. And of course, you have to understand the sacrifices that our ancestors made to give us the opportunities so that we can say that we are the ties that bind, but they are the roots. Now, I told Monica Smith that I was going to steal a line from an MC presentation that she did a few years ago. What I would like to do at this time is I would like for each of you sitting down, turn to your left, and tell the person that you're sitting next to that you're glad to see them and you're glad that they're here. All right. And Monica, and now I want everyone to turn to the right and tell everyone sitting to their right that I'm glad to see you and I'm glad that you're here. Well, great. As exhilarating as that was, it's really great, that we are here because, we've lost, so many family members, but we still have their memories. So tonight's program, we're going to pay respect to some of those folks, and we're also going to look forward at some of the things that we have to look forward to with some of the youngsters that are on the program, and then we're also going to, hear some words of encouragement on how some of our relatives were able to overcome the circumstances in their lives and continue to be successful and productive citizens and maintain that spirit of being a pioneer through the decade. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have some award presentations. Now, some of you may know that you may be getting an award, and some of you don't, but there are people that work behind the scenes diligently, never saying no, doing things, so that we can all have a great time. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these awards to some individuals, and I think that some of the individuals that are going to be recognized tonight are long overdue in terms of being acknowledged as people in the family that really do love the family and spend a lot of time and effort, because it does take a lot of time and effort to put one of these events together. So I'd like to begin by announcing the first award. And Jackie, can I get you to come up and help me? Jackie Brown? What were you saying, Jackie?
Show.
Okay, our first award is going to our musical dentist, John Allen. John Allen plays at all of our family reunions, and whenever we need John, to play in an event, he always shows up and shows out. So John, can you come up, and I'd like to read this award to John Allen. This is a certificate from our community. This is a certificate of appreciation. We, the organizing committee of the Young Family Reunion, gladly present to John Allen this certificate, which shows our appreciation for your ongoing participation in helping to make the Young Family Reunion successful, given at Fresno, California, this 4th day of September 2016, signed by Dr. Jimmy Browder, Chairman and President of the Los Angeles Young Family Reunion, and it actually has our family seal, which was created by Michael Brown.
Hey, John, the press is over here.
Thank you. All right. No speech up. All right. Okay, the second person that we're presenting an award to, and it should be no surprise because she always surprises us with the level of effort, research, dedication, and support, and that's Miss Dolores Washington. Dolores' certificate says basically the same thing the John certificate says. We, the organizing committee of the Young Family Reunion, gladly present to Dolores Washington this certificate, which shows our appreciation for your ongoing participation in helping to make the Young Family Reunion successful, given in Fresno, California, this 4th day of September 2016. Congratulations. All right. Thank you, Dolores. Okay, this next award is being given to a family member who has a lot of success early in life. And for those of you youngsters that are in the audience, I want you to pay attention to what she has been able to accomplish. She is a wife, a mother, has 2 children, and she earned her PhD. This award and this presentation that you're going to see is for Mrs. Zenaida Robles. I'm going to read her bio. And trust me, it's very impressive. I'll try to be quick on it, but it's very impressive. Zenaida Robles is a singer, conductor, composer, and music instructor. Born and raised and educated in Southern California. She is the granddaughter of Edward Stewart and the daughter of Jared Stewart. Okay? And Dr. Robles has sung throughout the United States and in parts of Europe, New Zealand, and Australia, performing professionally under the batons of such conductors as Charles Dupont, Essa Perka, Salon, Carl St. Clair, John Busseri, Leonard Salkin, Gustavo Dudamel, Jeffrey Kahane, Grant Gerson, and Michael Tilson Thomas. She has performed background vocals for various artists, including the Rolling Stones, and Andrea Bocelli and Jonas. She has also worked as a singer and pianist in the hit television series Glee. Dr. Robies has prepared choirs for performances with such artists as Josh Groban, Kristen Chenoweth, Audra McDonald, and Wayne Brady. Most recently, she has been the director of the Glendale Community College Chamber Singers and College Choir. She currently is the director at Unitarian Universal Church in Santa Monica, where she's the director. And then she received her PhD from the University of Southern California, my alma mater. She got her undergraduate degree from Long Beach State University, and her list of accomplishments go on and on and on. She is the recipient of numerous awards and distinctions, including the USC Scholar Symposium Fellowship, the Young Musicians Foundation Gladys Turk Scholarship, the USC Choral Department Scholarship, the USC Black Alumni Association Scholarship, 2 LA Artists of the Future Awards, and the NFAA Young Artist Level 1 Award in Classical Voice. 2 Charles Dolo Coker Jazz Awards, the KCET Emerging Young Artist Grand Prize, the Cal State Long Beach 4-year Dean Scholarship for Distinction in the Arts, and the NAACP ACT SO National Gold Medal for Music Composition. She holds degrees, as I mentioned, from the USC Thornton School of Music, Cal State Northridge, and Cal State Long Beach.
To the point where we just can't fake it. For some ungodly reason, just won't let it die. One of us. It's just You learn things you never knew. The wolf cry to the blue-corn moon, or let the eagle tell you where he's been. Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue-corn moon, or whether we are white or copper skinned. We need to sing with all the voices of the mountain. We need to paint with all the colors of the wind. And on the earth and still, all you is until you can paint all the colors of the wind.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present this award to Zenaida Robles, Certificate of Appreciation and Admiration. This certifies that we, the organizing committee of the Young Family Reunion, have been fit to award this certificate of appreciation and admiration to Zenaida Robles, DMA, for contributions to the Young Family Reunion and for the achievements your personal and personal life, the 4th day of September 2016. It's got the family seal on it, and I'd like to present this to Dr. Robles.
Hold it up for me.
Okay, Michael.
All right. Okay.
All right. That should be an inspiration to all of you who have watched her grow up, and you saw, that she turned into a songbird. And congratulations to her and her family and to her daughters. Our next award goes to our Young Family Reunion historian. Every family has one, and I've had the pleasure over the years to dig through some of the archives and receive a lot of information. And one of the things that he connected us with is he's connected us with the 4th brother, Hiram Young Jr., who was the only brother who stayed in South Carolina. And at the family reunions, we always had maybe 1 or 2 people from the Hiram Young family attend the reunions, and then after they got up in age, Chapel Lord, who a lot of you remember if you've been around for a while, he's retired. I think he's your age. He's in his 90s now. But to represent the Hiram Young Jr. family, we have Stephanie King and her husband Mark from Philadelphia. And so we have representation from all 4 brothers. Thanks to Ed Young Jr. Ed was in South Carolina and found another connection to the Young family, and that was the Bowman family. The Bowman family has reunions that, like most family reunions, they just wear you out. Janet and I had an opportunity to attend a couple of their reunions. They had one in Atlanta a few years ago. That's when I think Janet met Stephanie originally in Atlanta. And then Janet and I had an opportunity to attend one of their family reunions in Charleston, South Carolina. And it was a blast. And Ed was able to meet a lady who was a professor at the University of South Carolina, Mariana Davis. Mariana Davis, and Mariana is a great researcher. She has She has a PhD, and she's taught at the University of South Carolina, and she also has taught in Russia. She is a fantastic person to do research, and she gave me a lot of information about, the young family and how we were able to trace them back, not only to the area of Columbia or Sumter, South Carolina, but also to almost probably the exact spot where the family lived, which they came from a little place called Swimming Pins Township. And Ed and I were there in 1987, like I said, and we found Swimming Pins Township. But the only thing that was left was a dirt road. But we found that, and that was significant because of the research that he had done with the help of Mariana Davis and other people on her faculty. And so we had an opportunity to have a joyous reunion. We made a lot of discoveries at the library. And also while we were there, Robert Wilson Jr. and I, we were driving these two minivans. We took half the family to Charleston, took the other half to Charlotte. And while they were in Charlotte is where they found that Simeon Young had attended Biddle College, which later became Johnson C. Smith University, where he graduated in 1878 with a degree in theology. And his brother, Isaac Young, was also a freshman in 1878 at Johnson C. Smith University. So that was some information that we found out by making that trip. And on that trip, we had several of the senior members. My wife's mother-in-law and aunt, Thelma Wilson. Thelma lived to be 102, by the way. And I almost would be remiss if I didn't mention that the first MC of the first Young Family Reunion in 1978 was Mabel Scott. Mabel Scott just celebrated her 100th birthday. And was it in April? April 17th. She was 100. And we have many stories to tell, but in that 1987 trip that we made, Winifred Young was there, Dr. Fitzroy Young Sr., my mother-in-law Lorraine, I think Edith Smith was there, one of Donnie's aunts, and all of those that made that trip. Also, Mary Young was there, Dr. Young's daughter. There were, I think, 24, 25 of us, Ed Jr., myself. There's probably less than 5 of us that are still here to tell that story. So when I told you to turn to your left and say hello to the person sitting to your left, and turn to your right and say hello to the person to your right, and tell them how happy you were to see them, brings back a lot of memories, because it's true. Okay. The next reunion we're going to have is going to be in 2 years. We don't know who's going to be here. We hope that we have a reunion. And that's one of the things that we'll be talking about in terms of the next reunion, because it's going to be on the Central Committee. We have 3 committees, the Northern, the Central, and the Southern. The Central Committee's opportunity to host the event. But the next award, and I kind of got off track. I know. The next award I'm presenting to my friend, my buddy. He couldn't be here. He's retired now, and he's busier than he was when he was working, and that's Ed Young Jr. Ed Young Jr., for those of you that don't know, retired this year after almost 40 years with the National Weather Service in the South Pacific. He's lived in Hawaii, tough life for the last 24 years. But for almost 40 years, he's worked in the National Service, and for the past 24 years, he's lived in Hawaii as the Chief Technical Services Division, now or formerly the Director before he retired, for the Pacific Region Headquarters, and has served on international working groups in the Pacific on communications and assisting the Met services from public island countries, and as a navigator for the public risk management in OHA management, and he's also served on several boards, and for several years he was the state representative for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. So I'd like to have a member of the Ed Young Jr.'s family come up and
finished his master's degree at San Jose State. He was hired on a temporary basis on a contract. He did so well they made him permanent, and he rose through the ranks very well. And at the end, he was the head of the whole Western Division. He flew to many islands, and he was a pioneer in the sense there are very few people of color in the NOAA. who he works for. So he started a program where he tries to recruit Asians, black children, different types of children, and help them to get a job there. So he's been a very prominent voice for pursuing a scientific career. So I'm very proud of him.
Well, Eddie is retired, but he went back to work, and he's self-employed now and works part-time. And so we're very proud of him.
The Eddie Award says Certificate of Appreciation and Admiration. This certificate that we, the organizing committee of the Young Family Reunion, have seen fit to award this certificate of appreciation and admiration to Edward Young Jr. for contributions to the Young Family Reunion and for the achievements in your personal and professional life this 4th day of September 2016. Congratulations.
I'm a doctor, but right now. Oh, yeah, we keep
This is a blessing, it's a prayer. I did it in the Hawaiian style. The Hawaiians always offer a blessing to the ancestors. Some of you are probably wondering, what is this? This actually came from Pongo, American Samoa. This is a lava lava. This is a formal wear that people in Samoa wear, both American and Western, the Fijians and Tongans. This is a common dress for men in the South Pacific. It's cool. Does anyone in the room not know what's going to happen? I think word spreads fast in this family. Anyway, November 2nd, I'm getting married to Miss Doris Jackson. Wanted to invite the family.
Our next award, and I can't give this award, singly, because these two awards go to family members. And we recently lost both of them. One of them was one of the founders of the Young Family Reunion Committee, and that was Jerry Wright. But her sister Rosemary was also very instrumental in getting the Northern Committee, involved and staying involved year after year and getting people to come to the reunion. So what I'd like to do at this time is I'd like to have a member or representative from Rosemary Jones's family and a representative from the family of Geraldine Wright come forward to accept a certification for their efforts and lifetime work that they've done. Okay, the first certificate is to Geraldine Wright. This is her daughter Celeste. And the certificate of appreciation, this certifies that we, the organizing committee of the Young Family Reunion, gladly present the family of Geraldine Wright this certificate of appreciation, which shows our appreciation for her participation on the Young Family Reunion Organizing Committee this day, 4th of September 2016, signed by the President of the Southern Committee, Dr. Jim Browder, along with the family seal. Celeste, congratulations. And are you going to accept it? And this one is to Rosemary Jones, and basically it says the same thing, that we, the organizing committee of the Young Family Reunion, gladly present to the family of Rosemary Jones this certificate of appreciation, which shows our appreciation for her participation on the Young Family Reunion Organizing Committee this 4th day of September 2016. Thank you very much. This final certification award that we're giving out tonight is to one of our favorite cousins. And I'd like to have my wife, Janet Clark, and her sister, Joyce Berry, come up as we watch this video. And we're going to present Ernie Young's family with a certification for his lifetime work and dedication to the success of the Young Family Reunion.
Jerry Wright. I'm the daughter of Maxine Abernathy, white. She's white, but I'm right.
Geraldine Alberta Wright, daughter of Maxine Abernathy. And with me is my co-MC, her name is Victoria. Victoria Browder. She is the sweet and proud daughter of Jimmy Browder.
Daughter, and this has truly been a wondrous affair. I know that my sister was the chairperson, and I'm going to be visiting her shortly after this reunion, and I will give her CPR. She's really done a marvelous job along with her committee.
Of the day for our food, this is Carol LeBlanc from Oakland. What the fuck are you right now?
I'm at Babies by the Bay. We're at the restaurant called Babies by the Bay in Jack London Square.
In Jack London Square. Come and visit it. Do they have good food?
Yes, they do.
Very good food. Marty's a chef.
Welcome to the family reunion.
This certificate of appreciation certifies that we, the organizing committee of the Young Family Reunion, gladly present to the family of Ernest Young this certificate of appreciation, which shows our appreciation for his participation on the Young Family Reunion Organizing Committee this 4th day of September 2016. For those of you who don't know it, Janet and Joyce lived in Fresno, and they grew up with Ernie, and I should have had Jim up here also because Ernie was, kind of like his big brother. And we lost Ernie a few months ago, and it's been devastating for all of us that he's no longer here. But the impact that he's made in the memories that he's given all of us will replace the sadness of losing him. And it's funny how the mind allows you to do that. It replaces like hurt and sorrow with fonder memories. So each day, and as each day passes, it gets easier and easier. So Marion, we again are sorry for your loss, but we appreciate Ernie very, very deeply. Before I go on, what I was going to say in the program, I'd like to acknowledge a couple of other people in the family that have reached milestones. One of them is my favorite cousin, Edward Stewart. Ed was 92 years old in April. He is the oldest living grandson of Simeon Young. And Ed, you were born in Fowler, weren't you? Fresno, okay. Oh, you grew up in the big city.
I was raised in Fowler, born in Fresno.
Oh, okay.
Raised in Bowles, you would say.
I'll make sure that the record is changed to acknowledge that. And the other person that was born in April, and I believe it was April 17th, is Mabel Scott. Mabel couldn't be here because she's having some issues right now. But Mabel, as I mentioned, was the first MC of the first reunion that we had in 1978. She was 100 in April. And I talked to some of her family members, and they said that she's in good spirits and wish that she could be here. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Moving on with the program, I'd like to introduce Alvin Mullen III. He is the grandson of Geraldine Wright, and he's going to read excerpts from a bio that Jerry wrote, and I think that it'll be an inspiration to all of you because it's one woman's story. So Trey, you want to come up?
Good evening, everyone. Before I get started, I just want to take a moment and thank everybody that was able to make it out to the ongoing celebration that we had for both Rosemary and my grandma Jerry this past Friday. For everybody that wasn't able to make it, I also want to let you know that we do have additional copies of the program. If you'd like to grab one of those, my mother, Celeste Moll, who accepted the award on behalf of her, will be at table 7 after the ceremony commences. The youngest of 2 girls, I was born December 12, 1931 in Fresno, California. My parents were divorced when I was 3 years old, and my sister and I were reared primarily by my father and stepmother. My father was a labor contractor, and because of the transitory nature of his work, I have lived in more than a dozen towns and cities in California, from El Centro to Tule Lake. Semi-literate, my father nevertheless, through ingenuity and know-how, always made a very good living. I have always considered my father a wonderful, humorous, affectionate, positive type of person who seemingly never worried about anything. My mother, a high school graduate, native Californian, from a large, closely knit family, is a fine, intellectual person as well. Both my parents.
Go ahead. It's on. Okay.
Here we go. Both my parents are the aggressive extrovert type, and I believe this could have been the reason their marriage failed. If you know Grandma Jerry, we know she told it like it was. In his wonderful pictorial language, my father says their marriage failed because there can't be 2 lead horses. After their divorce, my mother supported herself as a domestic and later remarried. While reared primarily by my father, we maintained close contact with my mother and generally spent some part of the year with her. We actually lived with her during 5th grade, and later during 7th and 8th. It was made clear to us that we were with our father, not our mother, for financial reasons as a result of the Depression. Later, my father would not part with us. The person toward whom I felt the closest was my sister. We were never separated, and since she is the only 1 year older than I, we made perfect companions. We shared everything until young adulthood when we went to different colleges. The strong bond of affection between us continues, although distance and responsibilities to families now separate us. In retrospect, the most significant thing in my childhood was not the separation of my parents, but the occupation of my father. His job as a seasonal labor contractor caused us to shift about the state constantly. Until high school, I never lived more than 2 years in one place, and generally we only stayed 1 year or one school term. The adjustments I made and remade to location, school, friends, and places were endless. To adjust to different communities, local customs, people, and prejudices was no small task for a small child. However, it didn't take long to feel more natural to be moving than to be staying. Even now, when people ask me where I'm from, I never know quite what to say. Also, for years, it seemed strange and somewhat dull when my friends would say that they lived 20 years in one place. It was also my father's job which gave me the first look at social work of a sort. During the war, there was a shortage of farm labor, and as a labor contractor, it was my father's job to supply local farmers and groups with this manpower. I can vividly recall my father going into places such as Sacramento, up and down the streets, in his truck recruiting men, mostly winos and downcast. They would load the truck, be taken to a remote area and work a day, a week, or a month. Father also had the job of separating a camp for these men and keeping up with them. His work crews ranged in numbers anywhere from 50 to 400. He was also held responsible for them by the different towns. In short, he gathered, employed, slept, fed, nursed, worked, paid, bailed, and kept up with these men. In all of this, when not attending to one of the local schools, my sister and I acted as my father's chauffeur, cashier, and bookkeeper. We enjoyed trailing behind father to the fields, stores, banks, and bosses' houses. The social problems my father faced with these men were endless. As I look back, the problems were not too different from the ones met by employment and social agencies today. I grew up with an awareness of what it felt like to be in dire need, alone, and with seemingly nobody interested in your welfare. I clearly recall thinking how odd it was that as my father recruited these men, they would come right off the streets onto the truck without leaving word for anyone to their whereabouts. Perhaps all those years of contacts with lost humans and their problems were the factors that led to my interest in social work. In June of 1949, after completing high school in Woodland, California, I went to Berkeley, California to live with my mother and enroll in the University of California, Berkeley, where I eventually majored in social welfare. Initially, I had a difficult time academically, perhaps because of my varied educational background and the equality of competition I met. In June of 1953, I received my BA degree from the university, and just before graduation, I learned of a job opportunity with the Los Angeles Probation Department. The lure of living in Los Angeles was irresistible, and on October 4th, 1953, I began my present job with the Probation Department. I remained there until 1990, when I retired as an assistant director at Camp Kilpatrick in Malibu, California. Thank you.
All right, I think it's time for everybody to opportunity to stretch their legs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to announce the names of the brothers. And if this is your patriarch, I want you to please stand. If you are a descendant of Hiram Young Jr., please stand. Also, Stephanie, I forgot to mention that when I asked you to stand, as a member of, one of the lineages, if you have any announcements, this is an opportunity for you to have your announcement heard, okay? So, Secretary, did you want to say anything?
Well, actually, some of the lineage has been captured in one of your earlier books. It shows Hiram, and it shows my great-grandmother, who was Annie Young, one of the daughters, and then my grandfather was one of her children, William Loring. And then, of course, some of you know Uncle Jack, who has lived here on the West Coast for many, many years. I will certainly be sharing my experience here today with my brothers who are in Florida and Georgia, and there is another descendant in the Hiram Young group who also lives in the Philadelphia area, whose name is Andrea, and you can actually see Wilhelmina, I think Young is her last name, who is Andrea's mother. And the important thing about Andrea is that she is married to a gentleman named Kenneth Frazier, who is the CEO of Merck Pharmaceuticals, and is also on the board at Penn State University, who is a young man, young African-American man out of the notorious North Philadelphia that people kind of know about, who was raised by a widowed father and, went on to college and Harvard Law and then has risen to this position. And I know that she will be very, very excited to hear all of the information that I am now going to be able to share. So hopefully, come 2018, you will see more of us.
And by the way, Stephanie forgot to mention to you that she is a lawyer. Okay, next can I have the descendants of Simeon Young, please stand. So do we have any announcements that the Simeon Young family would like to share with the family? Yes, Nicole. Okay.
That was great. Thank you. Well, great. Thank you for letting my mom have this award. I like that is so shiny.
Okay.
So I'll be brief. I was talking with Bruce earlier today. We were reminiscing about some of the article that he found on the internet, and we started talking about kind of the family tree and how the connections work and everything else. As many of you know, back in, I think it was 1994, my mom kind of undertook the process of putting together the family tree. We have it in a booklet that everybody got at that time. And so as I looked at that, I made a couple of copies and gave one to Mike and some other people. It was 1994. That was over 20 years ago. And so what I'd like to do is, for the next reunion, I'd like to get an update of that to bring forward from 1994 everything that has happened, first deaths, marriages, everything else. So if you're interested, I'll basically need someone from each of the four sides to kind of undertake being the collector of information. I'm in the directory. You can give me a call. You can send me an email, and let's work towards pulling together and bringing forward that family tree so that we can expand it out to everyone that's here today.
Are you using a software program?
I did have it in Family Tree. I did have it in Family Tree Maker back in 1994. Unfortunately, that hard drive went on the fritz. So at this point, all I have is that record, which shows, I mean, it has all the family tree. We can lay it out, everything's there. The births and deaths and marriages to that point are captured in those pages. So we'll just need to, like I said, kind of bring it forward with everything that's happened since then.
I just have a response. Myra Reisinger has been prolific tracing back the history, and on Ancestry.com, she has a pretty extensive tree, and I think several other people do. So if we could collate all of those trees, it would already be up, you know, going forward beyond the 1990s.
Right.
Yeah, but I think involving Myra Weisinger would be very helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, we just want to collect all that information, and then we can get another one distributed out, and we can get one online that everybody can be a part of.
On the civic, Myra, I've connected my family with her side. So for the Carl Young, it's all connected and tied into that family tree on Ancestry. And there's like 3 others.
Yes.
So I think if you went into Ancestry, you would probably be able to pull all the way back.
Sounds good.
All right. Yes, hold on, Jack.
Yeah, Myra was supposed to have been here today. Her mother is ill. She initially didn't expect her. They were expecting kind of not to make it, but apparently she's doing well. But she was going to also, along with my husband Julius, lay out the family, all the family. So we're aware that she does have a lot of issues. But thanks for saying that, because that's something that we can also bring up to her also.
Great.
Okay, any other announcements from the Simeon Young family? Okay. Next family that's going to stretch your legs is going to be the Jordan Young family. Any members of the Jordan Young family here, please stand. Okay. And does anyone from the Jordan Young family have any announcements they'd like to share with the family?
Melanie wants to say something. Melanie?
I know she's not shy.
Hurry up, Melanie.
Go to the microphone, please, to the front.
Over here, Melanie, to me.
I have 2 other siblings joining into my family.
What are their names?
Their names are Autumn and Carter.
How old are they?
Carter is 6 months and Autumn is 2 years old. And I'm 7. I'm the big sister and I promise to take real good care of them.
Any other announcements Jordan Young family like to share? All right, well, thank you, Jordan Young family. And the 4th brother, who was the baby of the family, the Isaac Young family. Would you please stand if you are a member of that family? Does anyone have any announcements they'd like to share with the family?
Sitting at our table is Jeannie King Brooks. And she represents the kind of the fusion of all of the black families in the valley. So she's related to the Kings, which is on my mother's side. They started out in Tulare. She's related to the Weisingers through to the boatmans. Her mother is a boatman and her father is a king. So I'd like her to stand up. I'm so happy she came, and she's like the quintessential person of color from the valley that has persevered through a lot of things. So I just want to say thank you. We love you.
Oh, Judy, I talked to Judy last night. She was very nice. Thank you very much.